All right, welcome to another Pro Football Doc podcast here. A little bit different this time. We got Taylor on here. Happy 4th. Did you guys, everybody, I hope had a good 4th of July. Did you have a good 4th of July, Taylor?
Yes, I did. I did not partake in my own hot dog eating competition. I think I had maybe 3, but it was fun. All less,
Yeah,
not as much.
I was traveling to a friend's thing. I actually did not even, friend's a decade birthday. I actually did not even see the hot dog eating contest this year. Obviously, no Joey Chestnut. And we didn't have a Sports Injury Central take on it like we did 2 years ago, which was pretty cool. I think that was an easy win with that. But I did see some video of some guy puking up lemonade or something. Try this at home. No, don't try this at home. I get the hot dog eating contest rules are different, but they're eating, oh my gosh, a high top shoebox full of hot dogs. I've done this with friends before. 1 minute, eat a hot dog completely, but the catch is completely swallowed, mouth empty. Very difficult.
Yeah.
They're eating 60 of them or 70 of them. And okay, their mouths are chipmunk full and they're still swallowing for minutes after, but still, it's amazing.
And it's crazy too. Like a lot of these guys are not just doing hot dog. Like you said, you just saw the lemonade one. They're doing like anything that you could poppable donut holes, anything against the competition, beef jerky. Like
that guy was a lemonade fire hydrant.
Yeah,
coming back up the other way.
And the guy that was standing next to him, he did he broke the Guinness World Record, 11 seconds for a whole gallon of that lemonade. It's just unbelievable.
Just crazy. That's just crazy. I did have a friend throw up once from drinking too much water. So
there you go.
It does happen, I guess. But all right, enough of this silliness here. We're figuring out the guest portion. We're going to do things a little bit differently. I'm not going to mention any names, but couple times now we've had a guest cancel on us last second right before. So it is what it is. And we're going to get all the explanations before we put anybody on blast.
Yes.
But the only thing, look, I look at it this way. If you're coming on our podcast, we're not paying you. So I get it. You don't owe me anything. Just professional or personal courtesy. Most of the people I know, and nobody really cancels. Something comes up all the time. But these guys reached out to us.
Yeah, not the other way around. Yeah.
wanting to be on the podcast. And then we agreed. And for the 3rd time, they've canceled twice right before. That's the only thing that's irritating. We didn't even reach out to you. You reached out to us wanting to do this.
So. You're an intimidating one too, because I feel like a lot of times when we release these video podcast stuff, you're wearing like a suit or you're wearing like a scrubs, and like there's other podcasts people wearing their polos or just like a t-shirt. Like for me, I would like at all podcasts, I'd be scared to to cancel on someone. That's what I mean.
With the podcast,
yes,
has to do with dropping my kids off and not wanting to look like I wear scrubs. I'm a doctor, right. So why? Okay, then you'd say, well, why are you big timing in a suit? Well, because I can't get away with going to work in shorts and a polo.
Right.
If I could, I would, but I can't get away with going to work in my quote pajamas, the scrubs, right? And so I do that, but I don't like wearing those pajamas out in public. So then I wear a suit because I can get away with doing this in clinic. So whatever. It's not for the podcast, I promise you.
Yes.
Anyway, so hope everyone had a good 4th. My baseball pants wearing days are over. His pony baseball tournament. He made it to Super Regions, won a game, but we're not making it to zone. So his 11-year-old baseball career or season has ended.
On to the next sport, I guess, right?
Yeah. And I dropped him off at football camp.
Yes.
That's why this, because I had to walk him onto the field and I didn't want everyone staring at me in scrubs, kind of deal. But you know what made me feel old, Taylor? Couple things. I walked down the football field. The coach of his football camp is Shane Walton. I don't know if Shane rings a bell or not.
Notre Dame, yeah.
He's a San Diego guy, famous because he wanted to play soccer and football.
Yep.
And he was allowed to at Notre Dame, went to Notre Dame. And then he had an NFL career for a little bit, Shane. And he's the head coach now at the Bishop School.
Yeah, he was a safety for a year or two, yeah.
I helped him out when he was in high school. That's how old I am now in terms of, and the athletic trainer at this school saw me. He was like a young intern when I was there. I said, "How long have you been at this school now?" He's running a strength and conditioning
Mhm.
camp out there. He's the head athletic trainer. He goes, "Yeah, 25 years." So I am officially
Yes.
old. Shane Walton was 16 when I took care of him. Now he's running this football program, and
As a veteran former player.
yeah,
Yeah.
old,
Yeah.
old. That's all I can say. But all good. Shane was great. I guess I should get HIPAA clearance before telling Shane Walton stories. But that kid went both ways, like because it was a small school. He never came off the field.
No. Yeah.
So, the coaches could never say anything. Special teams, offense, defense, he never came off the field, and he'd get so dehydrated. We literally would send the athletic trainer out there with a Snickers bar so he could get some energy and eat it.
There you go.
He'd get low blood sugar, but he never came off the field, that guy. Anyways, all right, let's get on to the regular portion of the podcast. We'll figure out guest stuff, and we'll have some other guests and figure that out. And hopefully eventually we'll get this other guest on that I was looking forward to, but we'll figure it out. It's fine. Maybe we've been lucky. No one's ever kind of not shown up for the podcast before. This is 3 strikes, but whenever you deal with intermediaries, you gotta like give it a minute.
Yeah. It's middlemans and all that stuff.
Something
Yeah.
maybe is explainable with what's happening. So no one's going on blast right now, etc.
All right, I'll start you off, I guess.
But the
Go
other
on,
reason why I'm
yeah.
irritated, you guys can tell, is I don't really do a lot of prep for the guests because I usually know them and there's just natural things to
It's
talk about.
conversationalist kind
And
of
I
stuff.
feel like
Yeah.
you don't even want to go over the topics you're talking about. Let's just let it flow, right?
Yeah.
In this case, because I thought it was interesting in terms of journalism, I actually did some prep. Now,
You were excited for this one. Yeah.
I was just like, okay, it's fine.
Yeah.
All right, moving on. What do we got to?
All right, I guess you've had this theory. I guess we were looking at that article since 2017. Joe Burrow went on the Barstool PMT podcast recently. He talked about the whole, what's the perfect NFL schedule, and he obviously proposed the 2 bye weeks and the 18 games. What are your thoughts on that? He also mentioned something that's interesting is adding the Pro Bowl festivities around like the week 13 area.
The Pro Bowl is interesting. I think that is very interesting into the bye week. And so I've given that some thought. But as you guys know, I've been saying 2 bye weeks for a long time, not only because good for health. Good. And look, I said 2 bye weeks when it was 16 games.
Right.
And then it gets you to an 18-week season.
Mm-hmm.
Instead, they went to 17 games with 1 bye week, and I couldn't understand why they wouldn't have 2 bye weeks. Well, now I get it. They're waiting to go to 18 games before doing 2 bye weeks. Get rid of the preseason, 18 games, 2 bye weeks. And what does that do? It gives you a 20-week NFL TV season. Early slot, instead of being 8, 9, 10 games, it can be 6, 7 games.
Right.
Who cares? There's still plenty of football. And then you get an extra Sunday night game, Monday night game, Thursday night game revenue. So if you're adding a game and adding a bye week, so you're adding 2 weeks,
right?
2 weeks of TV. That's over 10% increase without rate increases in the salary cap, and it's revenue, and it's good for health. Joe Burrow's thought about a Pro Bowl is interesting. The problem is, look, the All-Star game for baseball's coming up. People enjoy the break because it's a long season, and most players show up. They don't take that off as opposed to just having rest time. Or
if you're a pitcher time, though, and you pitch like Sunday and the game's Tuesday, you're on the team, but you're not pitching.
Pitch.
Yeah, exactly. Yes, yeah.
And they don't pitch a lot, and you don't
1 inning tops
hit a lot, and so you could get away with it. Basketball too, right? I mean, it's a very offensive showcase game, not a lot of defense. Football is just hard to do that way, and I get it. It'd be great to have it mid-season, but you got to remember 80% of ACL tears are non-contact. So even if you're doing a 7-on-7, do you really want them going hard and risking injury in season, right? That's part of the problem, this Pro Bowl. But also, if you add 2 bye weeks and have it be a Pro Bowl week, yeah, that might be more eyeballs in the Pro Bowl, but it's not replacing a regular NFL week's eyeballs. No one cares about Pro Bowl that much.
Right.
And so do you really increase the revenue that way? So that's why I'm not so sure. But look, I think 2 bye weeks are coming. And as I've been saying, for people who don't always hear it, was it 1993 they had 2 bye weeks and it didn't work. Well, that's because in 1993, most people watched their team. When are my Raiders playing? When are my Packers playing? Now you just turn on the TV on the West Coast at 10 a.m. Well, East Coast 1 p.m.
And that was due to new television deals they signed for that 93 year. That's why they did the 18 and the 2. Yeah.
Yeah, but like nobody knows who's playing on Sunday night or Monday Night Football per se. You just turn it on and check it out for the most part. If you do know, you might get more excited, but it's different. You're not just watching your one home team anymore. So that's why I think the 2 bye weeks will work, especially with fantasy, which we just started.
Right.
This caught me off guard, Taylor.
Mm-hmm.
We started a fantasy draft today. I'm like, what?
Sometimes I don't. I got to give you. I know I have to like get you on the rules because Scottfish. I tell you. I know when we do our personal leagues, I get you guys all crazy because I throw in defense players and stuff. This year, I don't. He added return yards this year, which is just a crazy loop that I'm even trying to work you through because I don't even know yet, right?
Well, I was on the clock when I found out the draft had started.
Don't tell anybody.
But the good news is you have 8 hours.
Yes.
Now, I'm respectful. I wasn't going to.
You're not milking the 8. No, that's not what we're doing. Yeah,
hours, but I did. Normally it takes me like less than 3 minutes to draft. Look at the list and decide.
We've already talked about our pick probably.
And I'm not a fantasy expert, right? Injury expert, and also I drafted at number 3. So, I mean, I didn't even think of a strategy. I had to go read the rules for this year's Scottfish Bowl.
And that's your highest ever start. You've usually drafted later. So, yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So, drafted already was Josh Allen and then Jalen Hurts.
Yeah.
And so I've come a long way. My first Scottfish Bowl 11, I was accused of a 0 RB strategy. I didn't even know
it was all the rage then. You just didn't know what it was.
I didn't even know what 0 RB strategy was. What I looked at was, okay, running backs are a little bit fungible. We can get another guy who'd be pretty good. And then like in the 7th or 8th round, let's get a running back. Oh, the guy we wanted got poached.
Yep.
Okay, the other guy will come around. Let's pick someone else. Oh, my guy got poached. And, I still felt it wasn't a 0 running back because I just devalued them.
You had like James White. You didn't have like a Derrick Henry or something. You just different tier you were picking from, right? Yeah.
But it worked out. We won the league and we didn't win in the playoffs. We won the league by accident. And then I think we went.
Well, your first year, Doc, was insane. I remember we looked at your top 10 picks, and I believe 7 or 8 of them were either injured or out for like 4 to 5 games. Edelman, Hilton, stuff like that. T.Y. Hilton.
But we still did well in the playoffs and the whole deal. But I don't know. It's like. And then I think one year we did a no QB, 0 QB.
Yeah.
Just because, once again, we were picking other players.
You drafted Ryan Fitzpatrick when he was on the Washington team. Yes.
Yeah. Not good. 0 QB. But we still did all right in that league.
Yes.
We won that league.
Last year was your first year that you didn't make the playoffs.
No, last year, no playoffs.
Yeah.
And that was because we listened to our friend, and I'm not banging on him. We had Adam Azer,
fantasy expert
on, and I
very
said,
good. Yeah,
I told him I'm the Marty Schottenheimer of fantasy football. I've played only a couple fantasy in my life, and it's been Scott Fishbowl, and I've made the playoffs, but I haven't won in the playoffs.
Right?
And he goes, "You got to go boom or bust." And I tried that, and I went bust last year, especially with Aaron Rodgers.
First
there were others too, but anyways, this year, it was. Lamar Jackson or
you're going QB or RB? Yeah, it's a choice.
Or CMC. Yeah, I ended up going CMC at number 3. I don't know if it's the right choice or not.
I took Anthony.
So I've gone from 0 RB to RB at the top.
You're morphing. Yes, I don't know if it's good or bad, but it's morphing.
It just means I have no idea what I'm doing with fantasy.
Change it every year.
Yeah. keep them guessing. Like, I'm probably the worst guy to play fantasy against for that reason, because you can't know my strategy. It's like the unpredictable poker player.
Yeah, it's game theory. I can't play against you because I don't know my opponent. You're hiding that. I guess poll you just did. Go to a next topic. So Kelsey obviously retired, and Warren Sharp put some really key numbers.
We got to get Warren on the podcast.
Yes, we love Warren. Yes,
I used to do podcasts with Warren and Evan Silva all the time, long form podcasts.
Love both of them.
On
both
Friday.
Yeah.
Back in the day. Get Warren on, maybe, and Warren won't stand us up.
Well, we get Silva on probably last 2 or 3 years for our little fantasy portion before the season. But maybe we get them both.
We should get Warren on there. But he posted something. Go ahead.
Yeah, it was the most 1 yard touchdowns in the last maybe 3 years, I believe it was, and Hurts is up there with 22. And I know you've always had this theory about how they do the brotherly shove, and like, who is it? Is it the offensive line doing it? Is it Kelsey now? Is it Hurts? So you put a poll, and it looks like people might be agreeing with what your theory is.
Well, there's some people I saw that said, well, it's because Jalen Hurts can squat 600 pounds. Yeah. But no, I think it's a fundamental difference. The Eagles are smart. They've coached a rugby style blocking, rugby scrum style, which is different than NFL. NFL is explode off the ball, low man wins. Rugby scrums are stabilize and get a secondary push and or turn. Watch a rugby scrum once and see the difference, and you'll see what the Eagles are doing. They just coach it better. That's why other people can't do it. As soon as if you look at the average time before Jalen Hurts gets his 1 yard or 2 yards or 3 yards, it's not the instantaneous push. It's the secondary push. It's the continuous push. It's the keep your feet moving. Don't dive on the ground. Go on all fours and bear crawl, basically, and push. I think it's technique. No question Kelsey did it well, but I think the Eagles are still going to be able to do it this year.
And that would be key, obviously, for fantasy, right? Because how many touchdowns Warren was saying from the one, that like you're saying, that shouldn't change just because Kelsey's out. They have a certain system there.
Doesn't matter for me. Hurts went ahead of my spot,
right.
So it's all good.
I guess something that just came out recently. The bountygate for the Falcons player, former star Jonathan Abram, went on his podcast, The Water Boys, and spoke a little bit about against the Buccaneers situation that happened in the early 2010s. He was saying he was tipped off about Buccaneers having order from coaches to hurt players. Obviously, that there was a big issue with Saints happened in the past. What are your thoughts on hearing that?
Well, the reason I was looking down at my phone, it now.
Well, I do want to mention too before you say anything. The one that did warn him about it was our good friend Donald Penn.
That's who I'm texting.
yeah. Okay, I was like, we actually have a little bit of connection here. He's yeah. There you go. I believe he's been on the podcast before. Or he's been with you next to you when you're doing videos before. He's been a key part.
Yeah, I'm gonna text him. In.
You're like Rapport right now. You're getting the information live on the podcast.
Well, we'll see if he responds.
Yeah,
it's not like I'm best friends with him, but.
But what would be the reason why to bring this up now? Just cause, or just a podcast topic that he had, or what would the NFL do to when hearing this information?
Isn't there a statute of limitations on?
Yeah,
this
that's
thing?
what I was
like 2012.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But here's the thing, and maybe it got to be a story because of clickbait. I read the substance of it, and I'm paraphrasing. The substance of it is Jonathan Abram got hurt in that game. And Jonathan Abram was saying that, hey, Donald Penn warned me, we're coming after you. You better be careful. And it was in the wake of Bountygate. Abrams interpreted it as they were trying to hurt you. If you read the words of what Abrams said, I believe he said something to the effect, we're coming after you. He warned me, we're coming after you. We're going to play after the whistle.
Here, I got to, hey, man, be careful out there. The coaches told us to hurt you all, Abrams said. I was like, stop playing. He's like, nah, they told us to hurt y'all. So we're going to be doing going extra after the whistle. We're going to be doing everything to try to mess with y'all. That was the exact what Abrams said. Yeah.
Okay. Hurt in what sense? Every NFL person is trying to hurt, i.e., inflict pain, as in pancake you, this, that, the other,
right,
etc. Hurt, as in injure you, is absolutely illegal, improper, and different. So, what sense if Donald Penn said that, what sense did he say it? I've heard coaches say before, right? Play through the whistle, not to the whistle, right? And give them the business, show them who's like roughhouse them a little
Right.
bit, right? That's not to roughhousing them and being tough guy is a far cry from
Inflicting
diving at
damage.
someone's knee and trying to injure you.
Right.
Hurt you as an inflict pain. I think that's very common proverbially, not necessarily to punch you in the leg and bruise you, but just inflict pain, run you over, play through the whistle. I have to guess the comments were probably made in that vein. And now somehow
Just got twisted a
over
little
a decade
bit. Yeah.
later, if you really read his words, and even if that's really what Donald Penn said, I don't know that it's actionable. So I think it's just spun and become a little bit of.
And just reading articles, they're
clickbait.
saying there's a difference between playing too hard and, like you said, trying to hurt someone on purpose. So like, there's hopefully no lines were crossed right during this. But yeah, that's the story that came out. Next thing I got, we're gonna go to another sport, Doc, tennis. We've had an article up for about a month now. He's up to 3 weeks removed from a meniscus surgery. Djokovic. What do you think he's playing? He's playing currently right now. He was up earlier. Going forward, is this something that's going to affect him?
What's he at now? It's sweet round of 16.
Round of 16. He's playing Rune, who's 15th ranked in the world right now.
Here's the thing. I think this is a quick turnaround from a meniscus surgery for a tennis player. We have his 6 score 84. He's in the yellow.
He's about to be 6-3 again to do up 2 sets.
A great player. He's better than most, but is he himself this week? I don't know that he is. Look, he can get through the early rounds, and it sounds like he's getting to the round of 16, but I think it's tough to be full go from a meniscus for a tennis player, given the activities at 1 month after the knee scope. That's all. I don't know that he's 100%. He seems to be winning right now. I don't get involved in the set games.
The way to hammer it betting wise. Yeah.
But
yeah.
I just don't see. Just go by his 6 score. I think he's 84. He's not in the 90s. He's not completely healthy.
And that leads in a little bit. He potentially is going to be there for the Olympics. Is that something is this going to get better, or is he playing too much before the Olympics that he's also going to maybe be not as 100% at the Olympics as well?
Well, I mean, I think he's got a couple weeks to recover after the Olympics. I think he'll be healthier for the Olympics than he will be for Wimbledon.
Right.
By time.
Yeah, we'll also be covering the Olympics at 6 Score. We'll have a couple articles, and we've already covered a couple things like the 3-on-3, the women's athlete Cameron Brink from the Los Angeles Sparks. She tore his ACL that we confirmed. We wrote about before and confirmed when it was confirmed. And then the Olympics women's gymnastics team. They had qualifiers about a week ago, and they've lost 2 of their starters to Achilles, obviously out. So that's difficult.
Not recovering from an Achilles. I mean, this is look. Even if you had an Aaron Rodgers recovery, it's gymnastics and it's too quick. And there was that men's gymnast previous Olympics or something. That there was some talk of him.
He was recovering, right? He was recovering before, and then he never made the roster because he wasn't, like you said, you can't go into Olympics, or like we were talking about when we were covering the Copa and the Euro for soccer. It's hard for you to be not 100% going into this long tournament like this, right?
Well, but even the Olympics, the gymnastics, it's just such an explosion sport. You just can't do it.
Just your thoughts. So they released a Giants Hard Knocks. They're doing an off-season version right this year with the Giants. What are your thoughts on them? Like, kind of, I don't know. People are saying on Twitter they're just publicly kind of like showing how they've moved on from Saquon Barkley, and some of it looks negative. But I guess from your personal, just being in the room and stuff, these are just business decisions, right?
Look, I wouldn't like it if I were a team,
right?
And I never was confronted this as a team doctor. But I would have had a serious problem of being on Hard Knocks because of HIPAA.
Okay.
Now, the player can waive it, but the camera in the room changes things sometimes. Maybe the camera's around so often you just ignore it. But look, I always told the fellows that I trained, you're there for the medicine, not for the sports. So don't worry that there's 70,000 people in the stadium or 7 million people watching. You're there for the medical stuff. Just ignore that that's going on. But that's different when the camera's not in the room, right? I mean, when the camera's in the room, I don't know. I think it would be hard to deal with things medically. And I think it'd be hard to have some of these casual conversations. But look, this is why they delayed it coming out, right? Because you couldn't have it in real time that you don't want Saquon Barkley, and it changes the dynamics of trades.
Absolutely.
This is why the offseason Hard Knocks is so delayed, right? But even then, I can't imagine that the Giants don't have to sign off on what's aired.
There's got to be something like a waiver or something they'd have to sign.
I don't know. Yeah. I mean, and I think things get taken out of context. You don't hear the other conversations about Saquon, right? And they probably edited out where they broke down, this is what we could do with Saquon's money.
The contract part, yes,
right?
Yes.
But this is our salary cap issues. We don't love player X, but we're bound to him for this amount of money. We do love player Y, and we'll give him whatever he wants, but we just got to figure it out over time with his agent. Or we could go get this player or that player, which if they put it out publicly would be illegal and tampering.
Right.
You know, I think this person will get released and this, that, the other, right? So this is why it's delayed, and this is where it's just the impression that it gives is, you know, whatever. Like David Tepper's wife got grief because they asked her opinion, this, that, the other. Look, she's the wife of the owner. In theory, she owns 50% of the team too.
Right.
I mean, if you're really going to be a purist about it, why is she even in the room? Well, she's in the room because she owns
50%.
the team.
Yeah. That's key part.
And just out of courtesy, you might ask her what she thinks, but that doesn't mean they're going to listen.
Right.
So, I mean, I don't know. I think there's too much made of some of this TV drama stuff.
Just a quick little thing, I guess. Beast of the week. We already talked about it before, but obviously the lemon chug. I don't know who the beast is, the world record guy or the one that put the whole gallon coming out. And also, I guess I wish we had gone there. I saw on Twitter the George Costanza bobbleheads. What did you think of that?
Okay, I'm all for bobbleheads. My son wants bobbleheads every time there's a bobblehead with the Padres.
Me too.
I'm fine with it. What I don't understand is, I think it's funny. I like Seinfeld. Most of the listeners probably like Seinfeld's old, whatever. I think it's funny. Assistant to the traveling secretary or whatever. I don't know what they had to get for marketing rights. I think having Costanza on there's funny, but I get the bobblehead, but you couldn't figure out George Costanza's body. I mean, I get it's about the head and it's kind of generic, but that's not George Costanza if you really look at the body.
It's not.
That's not come on. You couldn't get a little frumpy, shorter, little overweight.
It's like Aaron Judge's body. They put Costanza on top.
Yeah, I mean, that's number one. Number two, what I really don't understand. Okay, so number one is you couldn't get his body. Number two, how'd you get to Costanza anyways, right? Which is, I think it's funny and I like it.
Yeah.
But can you explain this? They gave it away to the first 18,000 people, not the first 18,000 kids, the first 18,000 people. When the Padres do it, they give it away to the first 40,000 people.
Right.
It seats about 45, but they usually do it for a weekday game, Wednesday day game, low attendance game on a Monday or Tuesday. And they're probably only drawing 40,000. And if they draw more than that, maybe they sold 43,000.
46
tickets.
Was at the Yankees game. Yeah. 46,000.
But the Padres, let's say they sold 43,000 tickets, but only probably about 40,000, showing up. Like one time my son was like, we're late. We're not going to get a bobblehead. I'm like, buddy, there's 40,000 of them. We're going to get one.
100%. Yeah.
The Yankees had lines because. So imagine if you scalped a ticket in the Yankees and then you got there an hour before the game and you ended up without a bobblehead.
Like they had 46,000 people there and only 18 are getting them. Like half the stadium does not have the bobblehead. So more than half.
Don't put it under your seat.
Oh, I
Like,
don't know if you
I
saw
mean,
on eBay, they're all over $240 plus on eBay right now. It's incredible. Yeah.
well, maybe that's the secret. They actually made 20,000,
To make it
and
collectible,
and
or
the Yankees are selling 2,000 of them on eBay. No, just kidding.
yeah, smart move.
I mean, it doesn't. Just do 40,000 or 45,000 or whatever. I mean, if you're going to do the bobbleheads.
That's it. All I had for us, Doc. Just continually go to sixscore.com. We're covering, like I said, the Olympics, football's streamlining ahead. Baseball's always there, right?
Yeah, we're line up podcast guests the old fashioned
We
way.
need a Saturday Live thing where you have like the next 4 people of the month just promoted on like the first of the month.
Well, that would require planning on my part.
Yes.
But no, I mean, what surprised me about this is we've had no issues. Look, I mean, Adam Schefter comes on, clockwork.
Yep.
Ian Rappaport, clockwork. Anybody,
Very, very busy people.
Busy people come on, clockwork. When you agree on a time, they come on. And like I said, what was weird is they reached out to us.
We're not like hounding them for
Yeah, but I think it has to do with anytime you deal with intermediaries.
Yeah,
things get in the
go to the source.
Crosshairs. Go to the source. Anyways, and then what else? That should be it here. I hope that little kid that Shohei Ohtani hit with the home run ball is okay.
When you asked me for a slow mo of that video, I was thinking, I already see this. This is hilarious. Yeah,
I mean,
you got to catch it. You got to catch it.
I mean.
Ohtani
was it half price beer night? I mean, all these people with hands,
and they're nowhere near it. Went to the shortest.
I mean, I get it if someone tips it.
Yep.
And it gets deflected.
That was straight. That was straight.
Right? I mean, I get it, but it went straight
down. Yeah.
Eyebrow. Mom's not happy.
She gets the ball. Autograph. He'll be okay, right?
No, mom's not happy.
Oh, mom's not happy? No.
I don't know.
Yeah, but mom's not happy though. Yeah.
Mom sees the video, she's unhappy.
Yeah.
She's saying, A, why were you not protecting my son?
Right.
B, reaching for the ball and missing. You need to be covering my son.
Right.
I mean, what are you worried about a baseball
for?
At least that's what my wife would have probably said.
Yep.
I don't know.
There it goes. Yeah. Mine wouldn't be happy either, too. So.
Yeah, right? It's like you got a kid there at the game.
No, it's like those ones you see where the guys like catch the baseball with the beer. Like if he didn't catch it and it hits the baby that he's holding, then that's bad. But
we see the baby. Holding the baby.
What if he misses?
But at least then he's holding the baby out of the way.
True. Yes. Yeah.
Here's a reach up and miss. And the kid gets
Ohtani ball was more important at the current. Yeah.
Obviously. Hopefully Ohtani saw that and took care of the kid.
Yeah,
hopefully the kid wasn't hurt. But the reverse beast of the week has to go to the dad.
Yes.
I assume it was the dad that was there.
Yeah.
I don't know. I have no idea.
He's having a bad week or next couple days. Yeah. Doghouse kind of stuff.
Yeah. All right. And we will line up some additional guests and let's do some college football and some other things.
Absolutely.
Draft stuff. And what's the Jokic score now? Still 6-3?
Yeah. He's up 6-3 on both right now.
Gotcha. So he's cruising.
6-4. So 6-3, 6-4. So the guy can still come back. He has to win one more, but that'd be a tall task. Yeah.
All good. And then our draft. How are we doing?
We had CMC and then
and no one's drafted yet.
No one's drafted.
It's not just me that's slow. So perfect. All right. Thanks, Scott Fish. That's Scott Fishbowl 14. Fun contest.
Your fourth year. Yep.
Fourth year. What's going to happen this year? Who knows? Either penthouse or basement, huh?
Yep.
All right. Thanks for listening and watching. And football season is around the corner. Thanks.